Okay, so to make the coasters, I am using these little, I think they're tart pans. They're called mini round pans. Of course, you can find that in the baking section of your craft store. And this one is 4 inches by 1.25 inches. Of course, that's the height of it. And they are measuring, because if you could tell, the sides are angled. So they're measuring this upper portion, and we want to figure out how big that lower portion is, because that's where we're going to put our cork for our coaster. So if you pop that out of there and grab a ruler, you'll see that it's about 3 1/4 inches wide. So we're going to have the ScanNCut go ahead and cut out our cork in those dimensions, and we don't even have to pick up scissors. So let's go head over to the machine and get started. Okay, so we need our cork, and I have this 12 by 12 piece of cork that I found in my craft store in the scrapbooking section, like where all the paper is. You can also find this on a roll in the kitchen department of like a multi-purpose store. It's always over with the like the vinyl for lining shelves. It's over in that area, and they have it on a roll. So if you need a ton of it, that's a good buy for you. Now the backing on here, it is an adhesive backing, and so it has this liner on the back that is shiny and slick. So that is not going to stick very well to your mat, I don't think. Let's see. Yep, comes right off. So, and I'm using the standard mat for my ScanNCut. Okay, so I'm going to do it with the cork side down, and that way it will stick to it. So let's go ahead and put it on here. Okay, so I'm going to use this to just smooth it on there. And then just to be really secure, I'm going to put a little bit of some tape on there, some painter's tape that will release really easy, just to make sure it stays in place. I'll put a little bit down at the bottom too. Okay, let's take that over to the ScanNCut. So I'm going to line it up with these bumpers right here and pick the load button. It's got to get in place first. Okay, let's see. See, my tape doesn't even want to stick to this. Okay, so we need to go ahead and click on patterns, and then we're going to go to the shapes category, and of course we need a circle, so we'll just scroll down. Oops, I think we just passed it. There's a circle, and remember we need it to be 3 1/4. So we'll just do the minus until we get there. And how many are you cutting out? Are you cutting out, enough for a big old party, 10, 20? Or are you just doing, like a family size one? So I'm just going to make that 4 and set. And you can see it put it right on there. So that's where it's going to cut. Now, if you're doing different shapes, or, you were putting a lot of different things on here, and you wanted to change how it, where these guys were, you can move them each individually, or you can click on this button right here, and this will automatically arrange it how you want. If you want them all lined up perfectly, if you want to save a lot of space, that's where you can do that. So I'm just going to X out of that because mine are good how they are, and go ahead and click OK, and select cut. And then if you need to do a test cut, you can. But today I am using the auto blade that comes in here, and it will auto adjust to whatever you're cutting. So I can go from cutting vinyl to cutting something thick like cork without having to monkey around with any settings. It will figure it all out for me. So I love this auto blade. So to insert your blade, if you're wondering, you just stick it into the blade holder, and then put that little lever down. So the word brother should be facing out where you can see it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get cutting. So everything's stuck on here well, and we're going to hit start. So that sound it makes first, it's drilling down to see the depth, and then it's whisper quiet after that. Now you can change the setting for the speed. I'll show you what I have this on as soon as it's finished cutting. But you can adjust the speed, and if you do need to adjust the pressure or anything, I'll show you where that is as well. Okay, there's that last one. Okay, so it's finished cutting. I'm going to click OK. Okay, so right here, well, let's select cut. And then it'll allow us to click on this wrench right here. And this is where you can adjust the speed. So I have mine at 5, which is the one of the lower speeds. It can go down to 1. Or you can have it go all the way up to, let's see how far it'll go. I guess 9 is the highest. So I had it pretty much right in the middle. You can adjust your pressure, the cut amount. If you want a half cut, you can adjust that. So what that's going to do, it's great for like vinyl. It's not going to cut all the way through. It'll just cut half as deep as it's sensing. And then, you know, you can adjust your pressure for that half cut, and any blade adjustments, you can have that as well. So we're just going to click OK, and now mine will be faster. I can always change that back when I want to. Now that we're finished with cutting it out though, let's eject our mat by hitting the mat button. And now that's unloaded, we'll take it back to our table. Okay, so we're back over here and our circles are cut out. So you can see they just pop right out of there, and they're perfect size to fit in here. Okay, so let's get started on this next part. We need to go into patterns, and we're going to hit that down arrow to scroll to that teacup and the letter A. Click on that and click on that teacup, and again scroll down, and you're going to find this one, STB012, and then we need it smaller for our coaster. Obviously you make it for yours. And you want to put the number that you need. We're doing 4. And then go ahead and hit set. Okay, so we have those. Now we need the initial to go on the inside too, and we want to make sure it fits. So go ahead and click add into patterns, click a font. You can also choose ScanNCut Canvas workspace in order to pick any of the fonts that are already on your computer. Okay, so I'm going to pick B. And OK, and set, and you can see there is my B. So to make sure that it will fit inside of your design right there, we're going to go ahead and click on edit and click on that magnifying glass, and that lets us zoom in. To zoom more, we hit that plus 200%, and then you can just scroll on over to where it is. Okay, so let's see if that B will fit. It looks pretty close, but I'm going to make it just a smidge smaller. So I'm going to just click OK, object edit, click on the resize, and I'm just going to hit 2 little clicks smaller. Click OK. Now remember, we need 4 of these as well, so change your number to 4 and hit OK. And now we have this whole mess of letters and designs. So you can click OK, OK. If you want to, you can click on this and choose how you want them to arrange it on here. Now, I'm going to try this, but there's no guarantee that it will, yeah, see, it put all my bees up in the corner. So I'm just going to move those one at a time down here. I could select all of them and move them if I wanted to. Okay, so let's put these guys down here. In fact, we can put it all the way at the bottom. Okay, now there's one other thing we need to do. We need to reverse those bees. So I should have selected them all before, but since I didn't, I will do it now. So we're just going to select these ones right down here and click OK. So you can see if they're all in red, that's what's selected. And click OK. And now Object Edit, and it gives us this choice to flip. And we're going to do that. So now it flipped all of our bees for us, and we're going to click OK. And the reason we want to do that is so when we cut it out, it'll be the correct side up for being able to iron it onto our coaster. So once you get those all done, next we need to scan in our vinyl. So make sure you put your vinyl on the mat and load it into your machine. Okay, so I'm just going to load this in. Okay, let's click on Scan and Start. I have to watch this wall behind my machine. Okay, so everything's on there. We can click OK and select Cut. And again, we want to double check that our half cut is on. We want to make sure it cuts through the back side of our vinyl. That's what's going to be facing up, and the backing is going to be touching the mat. So we don't want it to cut through that. So when we're ready, just go ahead and click Start. Okay, next we need to weed out the vinyl. So to do that, you just take the negative part, the part that you're not using, and slowly and carefully peel it off of the backing. Now make sure you get the centers when you do the letters and that sort of thing, but you just want to make sure it's only the pieces that you want to keep. Sometimes it's easy to overlook those small little details. Okay, so now the next thing we want to do is take our heat applied vinyl, and this side is all sticky. It's kind of like the gridded transfer tape in that that's what's going to keep your design together to stick it on here. So we need to just line it up, make sure your design is inside of it all the way around because it's a snug fit. So these little tulipy type flowers will be closest to your edge. And then we can go ahead and take an iron to the top of these. I'd like to put a piece of cloth, piece of fabric, or even a paper towel would be good, and iron those on. Okay, and after that, then we'll put on our letter B. Okay, I just came back from the iron. You want to be careful, let these cool first before you try to remove it, and just very carefully. Okay, so our next step, now that we have that done, is to remove our backing. Just going to peel it off. And we've got our little tin here. I'm just going to stick that right inside. And the great news is it doesn't have to be lined up with anything. You just want it right smack dab in the center of it. Okay, so that's adhered onto there. Now we can decorate the side, put a cute little ribbon around it, but this is ready to go as a little coaster. Okay, so we're done with that project. Let's move on to our ice bucket. Okay, so I went ahead and put my craft vinyl onto my mat. I have the white up here and obviously a black one down here. And that way I can do both things in one pass of the machine. So I'm just going to load that in. Okay, so I created that design for you. Hopefully you've downloaded it. And then when you're ready at your ScanNCut, go ahead and hit Retrieve Data, and then choose where you save that file. So we did it wirelessly. Okay, so now we need to hit the scan button, and that will allow us to scan in our whole mat. So hit start. Okay, so once it's finished scanning, we can see clearly that here is where the black is and here is where the white. So, you know, you can make it however you want. I'm going to have it say beverages out of black and the ice cold out of white. So get those exactly where you want them, and then you're ready to go. So then we'll hit OK, and you'll select cut. And double check that that half cut is still on, because we only want this to cut through that top layer of vinyl, but not the backing. And if you haven't cut this material before, do a test cut to make sure that everything's set up correctly. And then we're just going to hit start. Okay, it's finished, so we'll hit OK. Okay. And then unload your mat. Okay, so I went ahead and weeded this one out already. And I'm going to show you how I did it with this one that says ice cold on it. And it's really the same way that we've done every other type of vinyl. You just want to slowly peel it away, being careful not to stick the part that you're throwing away on top of the part that you're keeping. And don't forget those centers of letters. Okay, so now I'm going to use my grid transfer sheet to be able to put those on. And I've used this one before. I always save the backing because these are sticky on the back side, but they are reusable. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to put it right on top of the ice cold. And you know what, let me get my spatula. And just use your spatula. You just want to rub it on there to make sure it's adhered well. And then carefully, well, let's see if it's on there. And then slowly you want to peel this back. So you want those letters to cling to this transfer stuff. So if you have any that don't stick, you know, use your spatula and make sure it's on there well. Okay. So now we're ready to put it on our little bucket right here. And I just want to put it on there. You know, normally you have things on the table in front of it, so I'm going to have it a little bit higher than center. But you just kind of eyeball it. You can measure it out if you want to. I'm going to have this line go right at the top of mine, and then this one at the bottom. So that's pretty close. Again, you want to rub it on there. You can use your spatula or your nails. And then slowly peel it back. If anything's sticking to your transfer tape instead of your bucket, make sure you rub it again. Okay, so we got the ice cold, and now we need the beverages. So I'm just going to repeat that. And these grid lines make it so easy to just be able to line up your project. So just carefully, you might have some that still stick, but if you go slow, you might be able to get it off of there without having to burnish it on there again. Okay, so we got that. And when I'm putting this on here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I want it to overlap with the ice cold. So I'm going to have it, oops, be right there. And then just slowly peel it off. For more information about ScanNCut, visit ScanNCut.com. And for more ideas and inspiration, visit erinbassett.com.